Yes. The Goraksanath seeing Machendranath losing his path.
Right. Yeah, so that's why then Gorak had to, revive him, bring him back to his original state, to his original, frequency, because he had lost his frequency. He was living in a very low frequency.
In the lower chakras.
Yes, and living in very low frequency, and he just could not recapitulate who he was himself before. He forgot about himself that he was Machendranath, the great yogi.
Right.
And then the Chela had to come and revive him and remind him that who he was, and bring him back.
You don't think the yogini practices had any merit?
No, it was totally wrong.
And the whole yogini temples and...
No, that is different practice. That yogini temple and yogini sadhana is different thing.
Okay.
That is not, does not come with the Panchamakara.
Okay,
You see,
so
it's a totally...
specifically Panchamakas.
The yoginis are all dakinis, and then they have different forms, and then they have their different rituals. People practice that also, calling on this 64 yoginis or the dakinis to
And did
help them.
Machendranath also teach that practice, those sadhanas?
No,
No.
because because Machendranath gave a lot of his wisdom and knowledge and his sadhanas to many naths and many people who wanted them and this like that, right? That's a different story there. Now we're talking about the Panchamakas here. So Panchamakara is this that Machendranath himself he initiated in Kamakya, And
because I've also read and heard of other symbolism of these Panchamakaras, that eating meat, instead of actually eating meat, one would swallow their tongue in Kachari Mudra.
Yeah.
And so it was symbolizing eating meat. And this is how the whole body was turned into a yantra.
Yeah, that is true also. Because
And by bringing, as you mentioned earlier, the Pingala and Ida nadis into balance to activate the Sushumna so the Kundalini would rise, that's the ultimate mudra, and the rising of Shakti with Shiva in the head.
Yeah.
So that would be Maithuna, right?
Yeah.
The
That's right.
merging of Shiva and Shakti rather than actually having sex with a consort.
Yes.
So who created that? I mean, where does that idea come from?
Now Goraksanath, he gives this.
This is Goraksanath's teaching of the Panchamakara.
No, not the Panchamakara. But Panchamakara was...
That's just the raising of the Kundalini with Hatha Yoga.
Yeah, and to debunk Panchamakara.
Okay.
The 5 things of Panchamakara.
Right.
To debunk that, then Goraksanath talks about Hatha Yoga, because it's only, Hatha Yoga can only liberate you and not Panchamakara practice. Because Panchamakara practice is going to drive your energy so low that you will be nothing, you see. So that's how he debunked Panchamakara practices wrong. And then he explains everything about meat. Then people understood the meat only for eating and, enjoying and this, that. But Goraksanath, he explains in a different way. He says, meat is not what you think it is, right? Like to eat meat and all in your practice is very wrong. He says meat means animal. Meat means animal. And once you become an animal, then you will not be able to, because once you become an animal-like, then you will have no knowledge, right? You will be very ignorant, and you will have no real knowledge of what is sin.
The low vibration.
Yeah, what is sin and what is virtue.
Right.
And you will not be able to differentiate between these two, because you are an animal. The animal doesn't understand what is virtue and what is sin.
Right.
Right? All animals are like that. They don't understand. So if a human being also does not understand what is sin and what is virtue, then you are an animal.
Right.
Right? Then he says, now you got to sacrifice this animal. Right? You have to kill this animal, destroy this animal and become a human being, you see. So that's why you destroy this with the sword of wisdom,
Right.
the ignorance, right? So you cut off his head with the sword of wisdom, meaning drive that ignorance out of that person's head with wisdom so that he will also become enlightened. You see? So,
And also through purifying the poisonous emotions that are
yes, that is very important.
making a person an animal.
Yes, because they have to dissolve everything.
Right.
And
That's
then rise
part
up
of it.
in a different way, right?
Right.
They have to really understand the real nature and the wisdom. Then only they can open their eyes. Otherwise, they are still blind, you know. So that's what Goraksanath says. It's that animal, you know. And what happens when we hack your head, an animal's head? That means his soul or whatever, the consciousness or the chitta is separated from the body, and then it goes into the super consciousness, you know, the universal. It unites with the universal consciousness, right? And it is very symbolic. Symbolic meaning like, okay, you cut your head, and then you place it in the hands of Kali. Then Kali makes a skull and wears it around her head. That means now you have merged with the universe. The conscious universe is Kali. It's just a symbolic representation, right? Now you are offering your head means you are giving up all this ego, you know, you have inside you, and all these things that you have to cut it out with sort of wisdom. And then once you have that wisdom, then you become enlightened, right? And once you become enlightened, that means you merge with the universal consciousness that's there. So in a symbolic way also we can understand this, right? Offering the head to Kali. But it is actually symbolic, and you don't really do that. That is not good. That's what. So in that name of this kind of dharma that Macharanath was spreading there, hundreds of animals are being slaughtered. And still today
And
also,
still they are.
still people don't understand the real thing. They carry on doing the same thing. So that was meat. You see, the meaning of meat. He says you got to sacrifice this animal thing inside you. Cut it out with the sort of wisdom and become an enlightened person. That is the meaning of meat. It's not that what you think. And then he comes to fish. And fish is very interesting also. Very interesting. Why? Because he says you have to become like a fish. Like the fish can easily bend and mold and go in any direction he wants, you know. And a fish will easily change its direction if he or she, the fish, meets a very unfavorable environment. It'll drive itself away, or run away from there, right? So that is what Guru was meaning, like you got to become like a fish. And this is totally connected with Pratyahara. And Pratyahara is one section of Hatha Yoga, which every yogi has to practice, right? So here Goraksanath very nicely explains Pratyahara using the fish. He says fish means this, it means Pratyahara. It doesn't mean you could take the fish, cut it and eat it. That's wrong, right? The real meaning of fish is you become like a fish. That means you hold your senses, all your senses, the eyes, the nose, the tongue, the ears, the hands, your genitals, everything, your sense organs, right? Take control of them. They are like horses, right? If you just leave them, then they'll go wild. And if your horses go wild, then you will have an accident or something, then you'll fall into such a deep, dark abyss from where you cannot escape if you don't control your senses. So that's what Goraksanath was explaining. You got to control your senses, you got to hold on to the rein of this.
That also comes out of the Gita, right?
That was expressly taught by people, you know, they've taken this all from Buddhist teachings, from the Tripitaka and things like that. These stories are all there in Buddhist.
Okay, so withdrawing the senses.
Yes, it was very important. Yes, and
the
so
true
hold on to
meaning
the rein, don't
of
let your
fish.
horses fly
Right,
off, you
yeah.
know. So people do that, right? They get lost.
Reining in the senses.
Yeah, and today you see how people are so much, they cannot control their eyes because every time they have to fix it on the screen.
Yeah.
10 minutes waiting for the bus, screen. Doing something, screen, you know.
Yeah.
And you can't take your eyes off.
And wherever the eyes go, the mind follows.
It does. The mind, then the other senses follow together. They're all behind, lined up, ready for action, right? And everyone starts flying in different directions. You can't control them, you're gone, lost. So this is what Goraksanath says by fish. Fish means this. It's a Pratyahara. You got to practice this. You got to hold back your senses and be aware of it every time. Don't let the horses go flying.
So it has nothing to do with the entwining Ida and Pingala around the chakras.
No.
Nothing.
It does not come into that. Okay? So Pratyahara is this, right? And this is, you have to do it yourself, right? Nobody can do it for you. So it's a yoga that you got to practice. Right? So it's a yoga, hatha yoga practice, Pratyahara. You have to always be aware of what you're watching with your eyes. Be careful whom you're listening to, what are you doing with your sexual organs, be careful, you see, control, hold back.
And tongue eating.
Yes, and the taste of food,
tasting.
and then the taste, the tongue always tastes things, right? But people, because of that, they start indulging.
Yes.
Real, yes, and so they just cannot hold back their tongue. They cannot turn like a fish, and then they'll destroy their health. You see, and then they'll land up in hospitals and doctors and medicine and all that's bullshit because they just cannot control. And tongue not only for taste only, it's also for talking. So you got to be aware how you talk, right? How you
Not
use
lying.
it. Yes, and
Satya.
yeah, and always be on the truth side. Always speak the truth, right?
Yeah.
And be careful what you speak with your tongue. If you don't know how to control your tongue, it might land you in prison. It might land you in an asylum. Anywhere, because it's for the tongue, right?
Yeah,
you didn't control, you didn't hold back, and you are gone. So you see, this is Pratyahara, very beautiful. Now Goraksanath really debunks Maharaj theory of the fish. Yeah, and they couldn't say a word. They couldn't debate with Goraksanath when he was explaining these things. They had no words then. So very beautiful explanation Goraksanath gives about Pratyahara, how you need to control your senses. Yeah.
What about?
Yeah, and that is about fish. Then I think we come to the third Makara, that is Madira. Yeah, Madira also very interesting. So there again the same thing, Panchamakara practice. Oh yes, you have to bring a lot of alcohol and offer to Bhairav, offer to Devi, alcohol, offering, Panchamakara offering. Offer meat, fish.
Especially Mahankal.
Yes, and because Mahankal Bhairav is there, so Bhairav needs a lot of alcohol, so can't give Bhairav a lot of alcohol. So there is plenty of this spirit, not the pit, right? So, and Macharanath, okay, come on, alcohol, drink. Everybody drinks, right? And what does alcohol do? It'll make you drunk, intoxicated, and it'll get you high. Right? And people like that high. So
and
that's,
they think they're enlightened.
Yeah, and they think like, oh, I'm escaping into another frequency. And then, yeah, so that's what it does. It intoxicates you, gives you a high, and people like that high. They get addicted to alcohol, and because it's temporary thing, right? When you drink, you get a little high, that's all. Then afterwards it vanishes. Then again you want that high, you go and drink again.
But I thought the thing with yogis is that they could do all of these practices and not be affected, not be drunk.
Yeah, there is another theory about that too, because that is another practice, like the practice that was done by Birupaksh.
Right.
Birupa.
One of the Mahasiddhas.
Yeah, one of the 84 Mahasiddhas.
Yeah.
And Birupaksh, he was the one who was doing the sadhana, That's why, Birupaksh was able to control everything, and the intoxication and everything, he was able to keep the alcohol under his feet and not let alcohol drive him crazy.
Right.
You see, so that's what he proved. And that was Birupa.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a story about Birupa.
But most people can't do that.
No,
They
it's
don't
very,
have
very,
his level of realization.
no, very, very difficult.
Right.
Because people simply only get addicted because they like the high.
Yeah.
So they keep on with that, and that addiction kills them in the end. They will not be able to control this. Yeah, so that is Madira. So when we come to Madira, it's interesting. So there also they thought that it was alcohol. Drinking a lot of alcohol will set you free, but that was not it, right? And Goraksanath explains this also in a very, in the same way, like he uses again Hatha Yoga. You say that is not the alcohol. That's not the spirit that you drink. You drink a different spirit, right? And then to achieve that, to get that spirit, you'll have to go through all this process of Hatha Yoga. You have to clean your kundalini. I mean, you got to clean your nadis, especially the sushumna has to be perfectly clean so that the kundalini can easily pass through this sushumna passage and reach, its goal in the Sahasra chakra for the unification with Shiva, the Shakti and Shiva unification there. And that is going to open up everything, like open your eyes and open the nadis, and then it will produce the nectar on your tongue when you are in Khechari Mudra, right? And then you receive this nectar, that means you don't need anything after that, right? That nectar is just enough.
The Amrit
Yeah,
from
yeah.
the Bindu gland.
Yes. And then the yogi will have no need for food and water.
Right.
You see?
It will nourish and
Yes,
sustain him
everything.
in samadhi.
Yes. And then that is, he will get enlightened, he'll become very powerful.
So the the Madira
Yeah, so the Madira
is the Amrit.
yes, the Amrit,
the
the
nectar.
that is liberated after the unification, right? When there is the union of Shakti and Shiva,
Right.
then this nectar is...
After the nadis have been purified.
Yes, totally.
And the granthis
Are open.
pierced and opened.
Yeah.
So then the Sushumna, the Kundalini can rise.
Yes, it
Up
can
the
easily,
Sushumna.
and reach the
Right.
Sahasra chakra, And then this, after this unification, then the whole cycle.
The nectar is
yes,
produced.
so the nectar starts
Right.
dropping,
Okay.
and then,
So alcohol is the nectar.
yeah,
Through
the
the
meaning of
practice.
alcohol is actually the
Right.
nectar. It's not
Okay.
that alcohol.
Nothing to do with offering.
Yeah, offering
or
or drinking alcohol.
alcohol.
No, nothing at all. For
Right.
Goraksanath, it was totally no.
Right.
Because that was not going to liberate you. You got to find that nectar, and how you find it, it's only through
Right.
Hatha Yoga practice.
But so low power mode. Did Goraksanath actually practice Kachari Mudra?
Goraksanath, he was already enlightened. Yeah,
He didn't need to practice
he
it.
practiced all that.
He did.
He did.
Right.
That's why he got all this power.
Right.
Right, he became powerful. Right, he could see everything, understand everything, and that's why he came out into the world to give it.
So when you're doing Kachari Mudra, you are in fact rising the Kundalini.
Yes, yes.
And then activating the Bindu
Yes,
gland.
yes.
And holding the nectar in the tongue
Yes.
in order to be nourished by it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Because it's not only the Khichari Mudra. In Mudra, Goraksanath said he gave, I think, 11 different mudras, Goraksanath. And Khichari is one very famous one, and another one is Bivit Karini Mudra, that is pushing the Kundalini up. So these were some of the famous mudras. And mudra is very important for, pushing and guiding the Kundalini upwards. So that's why he emphasized on the mudras, the practice of these 11 mudras that he had given to the yogis. So they were practicing these mudras, right? That's what he said. Mudra is not
We'll
money.
look at those in a whole separate video.
And in Panchamakara, they think it is like money, it's wealth, it's all the gold and silver.
Right, so mudra then, what does mudra mean?
That's what it meant for them, for the Panchamakarans.
And
That is
still
what-
does today for a lot of these people.
Still they
right?
don't understand.
Right.
Yeah, and then actually mudra is this, the bending of the body parts and making a posture so that it is beneficial for the Kundalini. It will help the Kundalini to move, and even move faster. The mudras help them to accelerate. They say it accelerates the movement of Kundalini when we practice the mudra.
So it's one of these 12 mudras?
Yes.
Okay.
And yogis practice them to enhance the movement of this
Right.
Kundalini, you see. So mudra is that. So there you see Goraksanath, he was debunking all the
Right,
Panchamakars, you know. The meat also he debunked, the fish also he said this is not it. The Madira also he explained very well, right? And the mudra also he says this is what it is, right? This is the practice of Hatha Yoga. You have to go through this mudra practice. Then only you will achieve what you want, you know. So, and then comes the Maithuna, right? The sex. That's what people thought, oh, sex, yes. So they were having sex with women. So it was not that having sex with women is going to liberate you and take you for. No, it's not that. It's a different thing, he says, right? It is actually the union of the Shakti that is going up to meet Shiva. And once that meeting takes place, right? That union takes place, then it produces an energy which will totally change the frequency of that particular person. You know, it will take him to that very frequency of the universal consciousness.
Right.
You know, so everything will change, right?
Yeah.
His eyes will open up. His all-seeing eyes he will be having, seeing everything.
And so there was I can't remember the exact quote, but it's in the 100 verses of Goraksanath, where he says, you know, I'm not in love with, you know, a female's body. I'm in love with the curve of the Sushumna.
Yes, yes.
And the
yes,
curve
yes.
of the Kundalini
Yes, yes.
rising in the
Yes.
Sushumna.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so that was what it was about for him, the Maithuna, with Shakti and Shiva
Yes.
merging
Yes.
in the Sahasrara
Yes.
chakra.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what that's how Goraksanath was able to, you know, change
Right.
Machendranath, bring him back to his senses.
Yeah.
But still, Machendranath was not happy. He didn't want. He was very reluctant to go because he didn't want to leave this paradise he
Yeah.
was in, you know. But anyway, he had to leave. And when he left, because he was the king also, so when he left, the queen, you know, made him a lot of offerings, gold ornaments, and even gold bars, gave it to him, you know, so that he could use it and all. So Machendra was carrying all this load with him. You know, he was wearing gold and he was also carrying gold.
Right.
And all along the way, you know, like with Goraksanath, Machendranath was only grumbling. He was grumbling, saying things, oh, I shouldn't have come. That was such a paradise for me, you know, I have to leave my paradise and go with you. And all, you know, like keep on grumbling on the way, making complaints and all. You know, I should have stayed. Then he would say, oh no, but one day, you know, Goraksanath, I will go back to my paradise. You know, so Gorak was listening to all this and, you know. Yeah. And then anyway, slowly those things were dissolving in Goraksanath, I mean in Machendra. But there was one thing that had not dissolved, you know, and that was his lust for gold. He was so much attached with gold, and the lust for gold still remained with him. Then Goraksanath wanted to wash this also from him. So that's why he created this big mountain of gold, you know. And that's the time when Goraksanath, I mean Machendranath realized that Goraksanath, his own disciple, had become so powerful that he could manifest
Just
anything.
manifest gold.
Yes, anything. That's the time he opens his mind, you know.
Right.
Just before that, Goraksanath shows him the mountain. Says, look, this is the mountain I've created for you. How much gold you want, you take it.
Right.
You know. Then Machendranath is like, amazed. He says, wow, you know, like he loses his mind. Then he takes out all his gold ornaments that he's wearing, he throws it away, you know. And then he goes to take the gold from the mountain. But when he's trying to do that, then the realization comes on him because he had removed all the gold from his body, you know. So that lust, that aura of gold was gone, you know. So it was not, and that lust had gone now. Then when he was below the mountain, then he realized that he was acting so foolish and stupid. Right? Then he realized that his own chela had become so powerful that he could manifest anything for his guru. That's why he became pretty shameless also, shameful about that. And then after that, they say like Machendranath gave Goraksanath more of his wisdom and knowledge and all what he knew in Gorak's hand, and then he disappeared into the mountains. And after that, we don't hear about Ishanath.
Did he go to Kadri before?
No, he was in Kadali. From Kadali only Goraksanath rescued him. That's called Kadali Forest.
Okay, in Kamarupa.
Yeah, in Kamarupa.
But also I thought it was in Karnataka.
There is one Karnataka also where the Ishanath was staying, currently in Karnataka also.
Right. Is that before or after?
This was before.
Before.
Yeah.
So, but he went from Kamakya, he then disappeared into the mountains.
Yeah, after Goraksanath brings him back.
Right.
And then he disappears.
And there is no idea whether Goraksanath ever communicated again with his guru.
No.
There's nothing written about it. He just literally vanished. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it is.